Well, Bulavnaka, everybody, and Pastor Letitia Shelton and your parents, beloved parents, what an honor and privilege to speak briefly at the launch of this wonderful book that we all know that will be a great platform for healing for Pacific men. When Letitia came to church early this year, she had a brief of my story, so she asked me, so I said, yeah, why not? And I thank God that I can be given that opportunity to be able to be an encouragement to whoever can be touched through these stories. I was born out of incest. My mom just told me the story 48 years later, just last year. She just passed away 30th of May this year, just about 8 weeks ago. But I thank God that she was able to relieve the pain. So she took me a brief story, maybe a 2-minute walk through what happened in the room on that night. I just can't. So I've packaged that story and I throw it to God. I will never share it with anyone. But it's the pain that came out of that. So I was born into this, in the midst of this struggle. And I was good in mathematics in primary school, so I could reconcile what was the difference. But I was not brave enough to be able to question. And the culture was actually of silence, was real. So you just accept the norm, like a normal great Fijian boy would do. So I accepted those and lived a normal life. So I couldn't reconcile why I was calling my dad dad, and my other cousin was calling him Boo, grandfather. And some others would call my mom my name while I'm so expecting her to call her auntie because she's my cousin. So there were glaring discrepancies. My dad passed away about 25 years ago without telling me the story. So he passed with the secrets. But I thank God that mom was brave enough to be able to share her own stories. My siblings were surprised and shocked. Literally, for me, I landed out of the street. Yes, literally on the street. 11 years ago. We were just mucking around here down in town, and somebody passed by, and I was standing with my cousin. He made a remark, and I caught it. My senses caught it. And I was smart enough to catch it. And I went home, drilled my cousins. He wanted to hide it. After a few interrogations, he spilled the beans. But I thank God that I was mature enough to be able to handle the truth. And I never shared it with anybody. I just took it to the Lord in prayer. And thank God that I was born into the world. And whatever the circumstances, that your beginning is not your ending. And one thing I could thank God for, that I was not born in accident. Doesn't matter. Even though I was born out of that abuse, but I'm not an accident. That God could turn something negative to something that can be a blessing. And I always see myself in the Bible in 1 Chronicles chapter 4, verse 9 and 10. In 2 verses, it explains the life of a young man. And I always see myself in that young man's story about Jabez. So the whole Bible only mentioned about this young man in 2 verses, and it just summarized it wonderfully. That he had a small beginning, but it ended with greatness. He started with dishonor, but ended with honor. He started with pain, but he ended with blessing. And but one thing that was a pivotal point for the change was that he cried out to God. And I could actually put down a whole textbook of the various moments that I knew that God touched me at various points. When I was in primary school, secondary school, tertiary school, various encounters, that I know that the hand of God was just upon me all throughout. And my mom told me the story that she wanted to abort me. I could have not been here tonight. I could have never seen the face of the earth. I could have been gone. But I thank God that it was just, I think it was the hand of God all over that. And I can tell you multiple stories. I can just literally feel the hand of God protecting me in different situations of life, whether it's from my job, or from girls, from girls. And I could just sense the hand of God, and I knew that I was earmarked for something special. Doesn't matter how I started, but what matters is how I end. So I've been using this story as a platform to encourage others. It's just a matter of choice. It doesn't matter as you cry to God, as choose to cry to God and allow that healing to flow through, that God can use you to be a blessing in whatever way. So I'm only given about 7 to 10 minutes, so I'm going to round up this very short story. My family are still alive, and out of respect for them, I'm not going into the details with no legal reasons, but just for family unity reasons, right? Hope you understand me. So, so basically, out of all this, there are 11 of us siblings, 11 of us. We all came from 3 different women. So we all have our issues in trying to reconcile matters. But thank God He's giving us patience and the fruit of the Spirit to be able to deal with multiple things and multiple complications. But that's the thing that God allows us through, that life is real and situations are real. But God can use us through the Word of God to have the character to be able to handle multiple complexities and to live a life that honors God and to be a blessing to everybody around us. So my younger some of my family members actually, with the struggle that we face, and even in my generation, one of us ended up in prison for rape. So when this brother of mine went to prison for rape, and I also never knew that what the case was going on, one day I opened up the Fiji Times, and there it was. Story of rape in my village. It caught my attention because my village was mentioned. But to my greatest surprise, and what was shocking, was that my younger brother's name is going to prison for rape. And boom, light shines up. I say, something is wrong here, something's not reconciling. And if my father is struggling with this, my aunt is struggling with this, my grandfather is struggling with this, and now my generation is getting to a worse stage where we ending up in rape, and I don't know what my next generation would do. We'd probably be involved in illegal sex or whatever. Then I made a decision. If there's anybody I'm going to be willing to stand up, I will change the storyline. I will change the flow. I was born a virgin, and God brought through a wife who was also a virgin, and I'm telling her we are changing the storyline because I made a clear-cut decision that we're going to change this storyline. So that has been my short story in a few minutes. Thank you so much for the platform. Thank you for the opportunities. God bless you all.